IVM.
TFG Football is an IVM production, and you can also check out their other awesome shows like Geek Fruit with fellow and television geeks Tejas, Jishnu and Dinkar as they discuss the world of science fiction and nerd culture.
You're listening to TFG Football.
Hello. Welcome to a brand new episode. It's a Monday morning for us. We are in the studio and I'm glad to say I'm not the only one. Chiranjit joins me in the studio. One of the rare occasions that two of us are sitting face to face and not via phone call. But it is a Monday morning. It is talking about Indian football. But what is not exactly a good feeling is that there is some shuffling going on at the continental level, and yes, we will be talking about that. Chiranjit, what is your first feeling when you heard about there is a subcontinental sub-body or federation that is coming up? You're just trying to mix up the letters, the S and the A and the F, and then you add a W to that. What was the first reaction when you got to know about this?
So, we had a rather weak sub-federation before. And then some people with money come in and they set up a new association so that the old federation is not even gonna matter anymore. Where have we seen this before? Remind me, 4-5 years back, was it something to do with the letter I and L and S in no particular order? But that's what is happening now. I think what IMG Reliance can claim is that they have shown the way. They have shown the way that structures don't matter. Existing federations don't matter. If you have the money, you can go out and change everything. So now we have a new sub-federation that's forming purely on political grounds. It's not geographical. It's not, there's no reason why these 10 countries should be together. If you're looking at just common logic, but this is a association of convenience, and that's something we have to tread lightly about. On the face of it, it looks good. I mean, there's money in it, there's opportunity in it. It can transform Indian football for the better. But we should not get raw dealed, because once you have a unconventional forming of a new sub-federation, the usual rules don't apply. You don't get the usual protections either. So we might get screwed over as well. So that's something that we need to be, wary of and aware about going down the line. Yeah,
talking about restructuring, we are not new to this, and
yes,
we are already entering that phase where we can see the culmination of something beautiful. But this is not close to it. We've got a long way to go about it, and a lot of talks going on. This federation is not yet official, obviously.
No, of course not.
It's to be called the Southwest Asian Football Federation, SWAFF, and here we have two countries being left out, Bhutan and Nepal. Now it just reminds me of the scene when we were in college, and all of a sudden everybody decides let's do a mass bunk, and then two of the students are not been informed about it. So it's just the same situation where Nepal and Bhutan seem to be staying with the SWAFF championship.
None of that is actually permanent. It can change any day.
Yeah, it even can lead to having these two teams come into the new federation, and then so-called SAF is gone, and probably the SAF championship coming up is the last one.
It's a bit more complicated than that. From what Praful Patel has said recently, that the SAF is not going anywhere. It's going to stay. But then again, nothing is concrete as of now. Even if they had a plan of just getting rid of SAF, or India just getting out of SAF, they would not go out and say it publicly. Right? You're supposed to say the right things, because these are the sensitive times. The new sub-federation is not official yet. 25th May, they're going to draft the application letter to AFC to seek approval. So till SWAFF is official, it's stamped and ready, they cannot say things like we're going to leave SWAFF. Afghanistan could say it because they were going to Central Asian Federation, which is not which was already official, right? So it was just a case of them moving to another existing sub-federation. This is a case of screwing over two federations, two sub-federations and forming a new one. Unprecedented. I think this reminds me of BRICS, but with a lot more money. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. That was a political coalition, but sports was a part of it. We've been hearing a lot about BRICS football hoega. India is going to play against Brazil and Russia and China and all that stuff. None of that has happened.
Yeah.
But I hope they go for a full-fledged federation. It doesn't end up being a gimmick because there's money in it, and money is something we need to consider.
Money was the driving force, obviously. If you don't have the investor, you don't have the funding to even get going with this, we really shouldn't have seen this high-level meeting happening in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, well, let's just... I'm not going to go into the global politics of it. This is, the fallout of some Iran versus Saudi conflict. Two oil-rich countries. Saudi wanted the AFC offices the Western Nation Football Federation offices to move to Saudi Arabia, and Iran was opposed to that. So there is now two factions within WAFF. The pro-Saudi faction is going to be a part of SWAFF. The others are not going to be a part of SWAFF, and basically they are getting the subcontinental nations like India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Maldives. These are just extra addendum to have extra votes in AFC to try and get this done, because Bahrain is a part of SWAFF. The Bahrain Football Association president is the AFC president. India's Praful Patel is the vice president at AFC. This is all political.
It's all hand and glove, if you can just put it that way. It's interconnected, and hopefully none of the countries are left out, and we see something better happening with regards to quality competitions being played. When we're talking about competitions, obviously the prize money is a big factor here, and if you have big prize money to be won, you will be attracted by lots of countries.
No, but then again, don't expect India to win any prize money if there is a SWAFF championship.
We're not looking at the prize money. Neither can we get a sniff of that. All we can expect is some good quality games to be coming our way, at least once a year, and probably those competitions that we were talking about in the last podcast.
This is where I'm a little bit worried, because look at what has happened in AFC Cup. Right, AFC Cup, we have one group given to SAF, and 4 clubs from the SAF nations fight it out, and only one gets through. What if this new tournament structure, this potential SWAFF Cup, it's structured in a way that the lower ranked teams have to play qualifiers. And one goes through. So in that way, you have 5 West Asian countries qualifying and one from South Asia, and then even if we win, we have to play Bangladesh and Bhutan and all that stuff. And what if there is I would even accept that if that leads to a group stage. But also then we might end up like Bengaluru FC. One game you mess up, you are just out of that chance. So we need to make sure that whatever tournament structure it gives us a little bit of leverage to play against these countries and have that amount of attention and money coming our way. What I'm more concerned about is this potential $5 million per year money that's going to come into AIFF. Now, it's a bit more murky right now because IMG Reliance controls everything. If you give money to AIFF, that goes under the control of IMG Reliance. So it might be a good way for them to make some extra buck on top of it. But if it's spent right, that can lead to a lot of good things, right? $5 million for Saudi is chump change. For India, it's something. 33. What kind of crores is there? 33 crores, right? Something like that. So yeah, in that way it's good. But we have to wonder how tight is that? How much of an interest is Saudi gonna have in continuing this? Because they're gonna control this, right? The headquarters are gonna be in Jeddah. Yeah. They're gonna be on top of it. They're gonna control the money. They're gonna control the initiatives. So how much of a grassroots work are we gonna get? How much of coalitions can happen with the West Asian countries in terms of youth development, talent exchange? All of that needs to be sorted out. Plus, we have to wonder if there is a balance shift. If Iran loses this battle and Saudi wins over, do they have any use for India left? Then what happens? They use India's potential and political power and cluster, like because India has a lot of friends in AFC. If they get India's vote, a lot of votes go their way in terms of getting approval. Once that is done, what if India gets sidelined? All of that needs to be considered, and while there are some good potential, I don't want to just get ahead of myself and just think like, this is gonna happen, that is gonna happen. Every day, every year, we're gonna play 3 friendlies with Saudi, instead of Nepal. So, what do you think? Like, are we just take a look at it as a footballing perspective? Our rank is nowhere near those West Asian countries' ranks. We're nowhere near as good as them. Our under-16 team, though, bless them, they're doing well. They look like competitive.
Yeah.
So, in a purely footballing sense, does it make sense for us to just play them regularly right now?
No, for the immediate understanding, it's looking towards getting more games against quality oppositions like the West Asian countries. But again, that leads us to understand, what will the format going to be? Is it going to be twice? Once in 2 years? Is going to be once in 4 years? In some way, have it on a regular basis.
If SWAFF Cup is still continuing, where do you fit in the new tournament?
Yeah, because the Indian calendar right now is not the most ideal for development of any age group. I would say, because it's all scattered at the moment, and to get in the structure in place, it's always top to bottom. If you have the national team playing at a structured time during the entire year, probably seasonal, I think we can be useful to making this calendar a more successful one. But what benefits are we getting from entering this SWAF is most likely going to be making a decision whether we want to jump the gun from making the switch from SWAF to SWAF. So at the moment, it's not very clear what are the benefits, and even to understand it's just playing these countries is going to be helping development is a not a very clear picture at the moment.
No, I mean, look, the under 16 are doing much better than the senior team right now. They're way more competitive, right? We have an under 17 team going on under 18 that's just played in a World Cup, right? If those guys get to play regularly against teams like Bahrain and other big West Asian countries which are ranked way above us, that's better development for them, right? Even if the senior team goes out there and loses 3-4-0, I don't mind for now, because the kids are getting honed for that level, right? Because otherwise you just the sub-federation matters in the frequency of matches they play. Right now they just won a 4-nation tournament, the Indian under 16 team. I don't want to see them get stuck playing Nepal and Bhutan 3 times in the next 1 year. They're going to play in the Asian Championship. What happens after that? Then if we have SWAF underage championship going on, maybe an under 18 tournament, they go over and they play these guys, and they can, if there's an intimate relationship between those federations, because of this sub-federation, like Indian Football Association, AIFF gets closer to Bahrain and all that stuff, that means like arranging tours and friendly matches is going to become much more easier. And let's not forget, a lot of Saudi money goes into a lot of big leagues around the world. Like German teams have Saudi sponsors and some owners. English teams have. Well, if Saudi is on better terms closer to India right now, maybe we will get them investing in India's youth way more. Them coming over. Because what India is right now, Indian football, to put it at its most basic level of pitching something, India is selling its possibility, right? Indian football is right now nothing but an idea, a possibility that football is going to grow like a so many more people are going to watch. Indian football team's quality is going to get better. We're going to become competitive and make a World Cup entry bid. It's all a possibility. It's a dream that we're selling, and it's selling only because the subcontinent is one of the few places on earth where you can say that football is going to grow exponentially. You can't grow it further in Japan or South Korea or England or Germany or even Saudi for that matter. It's maxed out. It's already popular. In India, you can say that 10 years later it's going to be 10 times or 20 times more popular. That's the whole concept that Aizawl works on, right? Aizawl is not popular enough to make money back right now, but the people are putting in money because they think, acha, mera 20 times shirt bikega 5 saal baad. That's what they are banking on. That's the thing we are selling. Indian football right now, the world wants to invest is because they believe in that idea, and that idea got consolidated by that under-17 World Cup. That, so many people are coming, so many people are watching, and all that stuff. There is a buzz and interest and potential for growth, 1 billion people and all that stuff. Everybody thinks they can come and get fans. Everybody thinks they can come and sell products. So that's what we're selling. In the end, our population is what we're selling. And if that does not work, so everything is tied to that. More fans, better players, more grassroots, all of that is gonna be expected. And if we don't deliver like a threshold result, like we don't show signs of everything is improving in the next 10 years, then Saudis are not gonna like be loyal to us just out of I'm not saying anything, but they are coming in. They look at this as a business. If they achieve their political goals with this and gain more influence in AFC, and 10 years later India is not giving them returns, what then? They control AFC now, they control SWAFF, they control money, they control everything, and we've just become dependent on them by accepting SWAFF money. So then what?
And there we have it. That just outweighs all the possibilities.
I wouldn't say that, but otherwise, what else? Like right now, AIFF is dependent on IMG Reliance money. That deal is going to run out into 2024. Maybe it will be renewed. Maybe it won't be renewed. Then who does AIFF turn to? Like maybe in 2019 this gets formed, and in 5 years we show good results, and then the $5 million become $20 million, and AIFF doesn't have to sell itself anymore, right? They have enough money on their own to run their own accounts. They don't have to depend on a private corporation to fund them. So that's also a possibility, though. AIFF could become self-sustainable because of this. So that's the again. AIFF is also pursuing an idea, right? So
there we have it. After Aizawl has shown the way that it's possible for a corporate entity to come in and just.
Aizawl looks small next to this.
It does.
Bigger.
Again,
they want a league also.
We are talking about changing, having some mini revolution. It's bigger than a revolution that it caused in India. You have to understand the way a business has been run, the professionalism that they added in Indian football. It just garnered a lot of attention from at least the right places. Probably we'll get in the investment. We've seen investment in from various places, and this is just another channel to get in popularity. And if you're able to get in investors, that's how you get in money, and that's how you get in structure. And in the end, it's development, from the top to the bottom, or even from grassroots till the top. And again, we will continue talking on this topic as and when we get to know developments. But as of now, we will head on to a break, and on the other side, we will talk about Asian level football. That's the AFC Cup. Talking Bengaluru, talking New Radiant, Abahani, Dhaka, and obviously Aizawl FC in their first campaign. That's all on the other side of the break. Come back to us.
Over 47% of online users in India have experienced harassment at some point. So if it's two of us inside this recording studio, chances are pretty high that one of us has faced abuse at some point. How do we tackle this? What do we need to do better? Come, let's learn together. Join me on Akanksha Against Harassment at IVM Podcasts every Thursday. Let's learn how to make online a safe place together.
Welcome back after the break, and as we said, we'll be talking about AFC Cup matches that are coming up, and that's the final round of the group stage where Bengaluru FC are hopeful to make it past to the knockout stages, but they are dependent. They are dependent on New Radiant to drop points, and as along with that, they are hopeful to get a win against Abahani, and what's standing between them and the knockout stages is probably 1 point to get ahead of New Radiant, and that's what we'll be talking about. So the game between Abahani and Bengaluru FC, Chiranjit, this is something Bengaluru is not really seen before. It's been an easy task for them for the past 2 or 3 years we've seen, and here they are at a stage where they are dependent on the result, and it looks bleak. It looks something it's out of the control as of at the moment. But how do you think they are going to approach this game? Abahani is one of the two teams that are obviously not going through, and how do you think Bengaluru should be approaching this game?
Well, it just doesn't depend on Bengaluru FC anymore, does it? Bengaluru FC are a big power in Indian football. They don't look good when they're powerless. They look good in control of their own destiny. They're supposed to be the ones charting new paths and creating new scope. They're responsible for the start of Aizawl, for God's sake. It's because they showed a model where financial or popularity can be generated in a short time. That's what gave the others the balls to invest in Aizawl. So basically, they're supposed to be the trendsetters, the people who are controlling and doing everything. Now they are dependent on Aizawl FC to hold New Radiant, and I don't really have too much of a hope of that happening. How on earth is that going to happen? Aizawl FC have not had their shit together at all.
Are you picturing Santosh Kashyap also over there? We're just looking at Aizawl FC.
Well, what can he do? When did he come in? He came in towards the end of I-League. How much is he going to deliver?
Even just if we keep aside Aizawl's success in the past season, they've not been strong. They've not been fighting in this season. What's worrying is New Radiant, the way they've had a run in this competition. Yeah. I think they're just looking for mowing down everybody.
Well, they dominated Aizawl FC because Aizawl FC are weak. They dominated Bangladeshi club because, Bangladeshi club. They only managed to beat Bengaluru FC because Bengaluru FC had to send a weak team over there.
Nah. That's not the case. No. This is something when you win a match against a similar team, you'll say, okay, even our B team can go and beat the best. And when the same similar team loses, you'll say, okay, this is the reason. That is the reason.
Yeah, there has to be a reason, right?
I wouldn't be agreeing to that. No, I think
so. What is the reason?
It is a reason because they've had a strong run even in the domestic league. And
but domestic league, they had 5 foreigners starting and 3 in the bench. They didn't have they were not limited to 4 foreigners, and when you suddenly limit them to 4 foreigners, that means they have to bring in a lot of Indian players who don't have game time.
I didn't see a whole lot of dependency of Bengaluru on their foreigners to deliver performances.
No, but it changes the structure of the team.
It does, and it also gives you a leverage to choose a team for playing in 2 competitions. It's almost 3 competitions that they were part of. You talk about Super Cup as well.
It's literally 3 competitions. Yes.
And they've not been in situation before. This is not the first time that they've been. So they know how to juggle between teams, between competitions.
This isn't the first time where they have too many foreigners in their squad. 8 foreigners. This is the first time. Till now, it was all 4. It was just the same maths everywhere. And New Radiant have gotten a little bit better. They've gotten in Oscar Bruzon. They've invested more in quality players and all that stuff. Yeah, New Radiant have gotten better. Are they anywhere near as good as Bengaluru FC? Not at all. Not at all. But again,
but it's that moment, that it's that game, how you take it, and even the game between Bengaluru when they played New Radiant for the first time, it wasn't a game which was dominated by one team. It was a close contest, and look at the return leg. I think the way the New Radiant held on to that the grip on the game, I think that just showed. Even if you've got a strong challenge thrown on New Radiant, I think they can handle that, and that was the difference.
Have you seen Bengaluru FC's defense in that game? It was all over the place. It just made no sense. Unrecognizable. Like, that's what I'm saying. Bengaluru FC don't look good when they don't have control, and that was because their defense was not coordinating right. The coach wasn't there. Roka was absent. The goalkeeping coach was coaching, but that can't be everything. If the players are good with each other, they can carry you through. It was the game for Bengaluru FC to deliver. It was literally the game. If they had a draw in that game, yeah, they were. We would be saying, yeah, they're through to the knockouts. Just because they messed up the defense in that game, too much gap between midfield and defense, no coordination at the back. That's why we are at this situation where New Radiant are favourites to go through, and Aizawl FC stands in their way. I mean, don't even get me started on that. I don't know what happened to that club. Like, something more has to be wrong, because remember the way they played against don't even remember who they played in the ACL qualifier. They gave them a tough fight.
Azabahan.
Azabahan. It was a good game. It was a
good game to start off with, but that it was that initial 20 minutes that we saw the fight being shown, and the second half obviously had a lot more goals to show for, but sustainability wasn't there from
Aizawl. But that's against Azabahan. Because that team is way more fit and able to carry on, like, just using their players and their stamina as a battering ram for 90 minutes. That does not happen in AFC Cup group stage. You don't see that coming from Sheikh Jamal Dhanmondi or whichever Bangladeshi club is playing right now, or New Radiant. New Radiant don't have anywhere near that kind of fitness. So if they could put that kind of a performance against Azabahan, they should have played so much better against these Bangladeshi clubs or Maldivian clubs or whatever, man. It just doesn't make sense that they turned out this bad. Something was wrong. Maybe the coaching was wrong. Maybe management was wrong. The players did not give their 100%. The spirit just wasn't there.
Yeah, and just understanding that it's going to be a simultaneous kick-off the last round.
Almost simultaneous, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to just have your eyes on one and your ears on another match. But what do you think? Is there any chance that Aizawl can even manage a draw against New Radiant?
I don't know. Maybe sign all the MPL defenders. You can't even register in new players. Maybe tell them like 6 players have become injured and you need emergency replacement, and you field 7 defenders. It doesn't even matter. Play them in the midfield, but tell them every time the ball just goes up, your duty is to just come back.
But one of the strengths has been scoring consistently. New Radiant have been able to just get past defenses.
Yeah.
Especially the midfield that has been so vibrant that even if you've got a tight defense like Bengaluru FC, obviously we're not talking about that game which they lost. We know they can get past the defenses, and Aizawl FC are not been either good at their defense, neither at their offense. So it's going to be a one-way traffic. What is your scoreline? It's obviously we don't see a goal coming from Aizawl's end. How many will they concede?
2, I think. कुछ वैसा ही होएगा. I just don't see New Radiant dropping points here, because their big test was against Bengaluru FC. Right? That's the game they put everything behind, and there they looked so good. Now they're facing Aizawl FC, a team that's not half as good as Bengaluru FC. And I'm talking about the Bengaluru FC reserves, basically, who went and played in AFC Cup. Not half as good as those guys. What are they going to do?
So probably next season we see a 4 foreigner setup being applied.
No. They're not.
It just throws away the attraction point of ISL. When you have just 4 foreigners, it just makes it like any other competition. You don't do that.
But like, that's the thing. You just for some glitz and glam. It's a wrong way of thinking, by the way.
So ISL, Bengaluru in the ISL is a lot less fighting than Bengaluru in the I League.
Bengaluru FC in I League got way more competition. Bengaluru in ISL dominated ISL. Like, there was no team even close to it.
Taking a step back, it's ISL. They already moved ahead, and ISL will be the top division.
The ISL will be the top division, but you need to understand at some point that the fans don't come to see foreigners. Even if they come for foreigners, they come like the kind of people who will come to show up, who will show up for 5-6 foreigners on the field are the same crowds, are the same people who will come to see Robbie Keane or Berbatov, playing some sort of, being a ghost of their former selves. It's those plastic fans who worry about how many foreigners are on the pitch. The real fans don't worry about it. And I would like to believe that most of the people who come to watch ISL now are not like that. They understand football and they come to support because it's either their city or the club they love, right? Chennai FC fans, Kerala Blasters fans. Do you think Kerala Blasters fans give a rat's ass how many foreigners are playing? It's Kerala Blasters. They're gonna turn up. Doesn't matter. And it's not how many foreigners you have on the pitch. It's not even quality of the game. If quality of the game was a benchmark in ISL, then ISL would not be as popular as Second Division League. Okay, Second Division League. If you have seen some of the games, younger players, way faster, way more explosive, and under 18 youth league is way more watchable than I League or ISL, right? Then that would be actually more popular. This is not how many foreigners. This is not quality of football. This is marketing. ISL is most popular tournament in India is because of marketing, and how many foreign players you have in your team does not affect it. But if we reduce the number of foreigners to 4, it puts us at par with the AFC tournaments, and that does not create a situation where Bengaluru FC are left to fend for themselves with a defense just doesn't work. And this is putting us back in the continental stage. Our member association ranking is just going to tank because nobody's going into the knockouts if things go as they planned. Unless, like, I'm not even thinking about Aizawl FC pulling off an upset. I'm thinking about New Radiant messing up. That's where the bar is. Bengaluru FC will win, but it's not about them anymore. Yeah, it's about what's happening in the other game.
Right, there we have it. Bengaluru FC will be facing Abahani, and that game is on Wednesday, and it's an evening kickoff. We will get you updates as and when. Probably it's going to be an interesting
4:35 is none of that is on TV, by the way.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Oh. So much for Indian football, being popular and all that stuff.
Yeah. At least we've had a better year than the previous year that we've seen. We've got to see a lot of Indian senior team being playing, and we're lucky to see that on television.
Yeah.
And on that note, we will head into the closure of this show. It was nice, Chiranjeev, to see you face to face. Please do come. It feels good. Alright, then if you're listening to us on YouTube, do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and let your comments, let us know via comments what do you think about the S and the W and the A and the Fs that's happening, and also about Bengaluru FC's chances if Aizawl FC can pull off the impossible against New Radiant. Let us know via comments. You can listen to the podcast on various podcasting apps like SoundCloud, iTunes, etc. There's a lot of options for you to get your podcast in, and download IVM podcast app. It's available on Android and iOS. Till another episode, guys, have a great week ahead.
There she stands, a podcast addict, outside the bank, having travelled several miles to get in with other poor souls like her. The journey, though daunting for this youngling, will have some comfort because she has downloaded her favourite podcast. You can see more of her species on ivmpodcasts.com, your one-stop destination where you can check out the coolest Indian podcasts. Happy listening.